Well, I'm ready to move on and to wrap up with our final topic, which is rankings. Have you been on a post rankings show yet?
I don't think I've ever been on a post-ranking show yet.
Okay, well, this has only been our third month, right? So, um, July, August, and now September. Or is this the fourth month? This is the third month.
Good month.
So, and I want to make sure I have everyone over time that I have different guys. So talking about what they picked and who they picked, and the unofficial unspoken rule is sort of that we talk about each other's picks and not anybody else's. Although we might accidentally do that, but we try to just like have people not speak for themselves. Um, and one of the reasons you are included, or one of the reasons we want to make sure we have you, is we want people from different places in the world, because we all bring our personal biases and different athletes we see more in person or that we hear from or that we're in touch with. And so I think that it helps get a wider portfolio. We are still looking for more voices. So you can message me at Hybrid Fitness Media Instagram. And I can't guarantee we'll let you in, but we're open to hearing about it. So if you look at what we wrote here, since the last rankings, top 5 women remain unchanged. Chris moves up 3 spots, and then 7 to 12 kind of trades places, and 17 to 20 kind of trade places. And that's kind of what it was like last time too. So sort of like in the middle, people kind of move up a little bit or down, but not a ton of movement. And there were no new athletes on the board this time for the women, and nobody fell off.
Yeah, I think those top five, of those top five, yeah, Vivian's probably the least well known, but she had an absolutely great month, didn't she? Was it in, I want to say DEKA? She podiumed. Did I get that right?
Yes, so the DEKA that just happened in PA, which was the most stacked women's field we've had, certainly since the World Championships, and I would say more, because the talent level of those people has gotten even better since the World Championships, right? And so that was, let's pull up my photos. You had Meg, Chris, Vivian, 1, 2, 3, in DEKA PA just last weekend.
So I think Vivian kind of cemented herself, and we'll just go through them for people who are not looking at it while they're. We got Lauren Weeks at top. We talked about her earlier. We had Meg, we had Michaela, we have Vivian, and then we have Tara. And I do think that those 5, as it currently sits, with one potential exception who we'll go to in a minute, they're kind of there until someone down below possibly beats them head to head.
Yeah, and you could go and you could swap Tara and Vivian, right? Some would say you could swap Lauren and Meg. But those are the head of the class right now. Those are the 5 that you would predict if they all showed up to something, it would be like, okay, you guys are the top 5 in some order.
Yeah, the people just outside that. In fact, I said one person will go with 2. We've got Chris in 6. We got Viola in 7th. I think Viola possibly suffers a little bit by the current makeup of the board, because you guys don't see her as much. She doesn't travel to the USA often, but when she does compete, she's usually at the top, and I think she may have beaten a couple of ladies currently ahead of her head to head. So it's always hard, but that's the way the current ranking goes.
What was
And
she?
Chris again,
What was she at World Champs?
I want to say 5th or maybe 6th. I think she was 6th at World Champs. Let me pull that up. Vivian, I want to say Vivian, Michaela, Meg, and Lauren all beat her at World Champs, but Tara and Chris did not.
Yeah, you'd have to pull it up.
Yeah, let me just pull that up. While we're talking about that, could we just briefly mention when you published this on the IG that one person got really upset that we didn't include a lot of CrossFitters on this?
Yeah, I think this was a very interesting chat. Um, I'll even read some of it. Bouchard CF Frankton. I'm guessing the CF stands for CrossFit. Let's quickly tap his name. Guillaume Bouchard owns a CrossFit gym, owner CrossFit Frankton. And he said, how does the classification actually work? How is a HYROX athlete really more hybrid than CrossFit Games athletes? To which I said, it's an ever-evolving definition. If you read the article, we explain how we do these rankings. And then he goes through and picks very, very specific workouts about what it might be. He says, do you want something to rank? Take a spreadsheet and check the boxes. Who has the most points? Who is the most hybrid? 5K sub 20 minute, mile sub 5 minutes. Bring Sally up squat, ultra trail, time Ironman, open CrossFit ranking, etc., etc. But then he did hurt my feelings. He said, then we can emerge a true hybrid athlete, not social media junk. So I'm slightly insulted by the junk. And I answered specifically, I'm the owner of this page. I agree that many of the other voters lean far too much on hybrid and DEKA. However, you seem to have a nice idea with your idea of hybrid. So use your checklist, get several of the people to vote, and then bam, release your findings. You have your own hybrid rankings. We never claim to own the proprietary term. Let us know when you launch your rankings, which is sort of my way of saying, you don't like it, do your own. Like, cool, go for it. Like, that is a measure that you feel is a great definition. I happen to think I put a heck of a lot of weight on people that are showing up to competitions on a regular basis, like Meg and Chris and Jarrett, and Rich and some other guys on our thing are like, that's random, that's not hybrid. So everybody's different.
I agree, and we've seen this a lot, particularly with the CrossFit on social media. Social media is toxic anyway, but we're seeing it a lot.
It wasn't toxic until he called me junk, by the way. I was totally down. Then he insulted me a little bit.
Okay, not toxic, but we're seeing this.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
People being insulted by HYROX, we're seeing it a lot, and trying not to be a gatekeeper with the whole thing. But when you're talking about the fittest person on earth, they never, for some strange reason, their memory starts and ends with CrossFit,
right?
And yet they forget about decathlon, which was the fittest on earth for 100 years. And yeah, so like you say, if you don't like these rankings, do your own. I've just checked, and Viola was actually in 5th place.
I might put a decathlete on my next list in 20th just to piss off Rich. I actually, would you believe, I don't know if I've told you this before, but I made a video 5 years ago, and I just showed the workouts from the finals, from the final day of the games, and the decathlon, and I showed them back to back. I don't know why I didn't finish it. So day one for the men's decathlon, 100 meters, long jump, shot put, high jump, 400 meters. Okay. So think about the different domains you need to be really excellent at those. Day two, 110-meter hurdles, discus throw, pole vault, javelin throw, 1,500 meters. Now, one would probably say if you were the very best at any one of those, you would just be the long jumper. You would just be a pole vaulter, right? But I love the idea, much like CrossFit, of being pretty good at all these, right? Like the strength you need to throw a javelin, or the random skill set you need to be a good pole vaulter, right? Like you need this burst of speed, and you need like all these different domains, and then you just got to run 100 meters as fast as you can and like throw a fucking shot put. You know what I mean? The strength you need for that. So I love it.
And you also have to run a mile as well as doing 100 meters. Well, 1500 meters, it's close enough. But yeah, and it's a different set. And of course, we've also got our pentathlon athletes as well who never get a shout out, and they can punch horses.
They can punch horses, they can fence. I mean, I don't even know where that is in the world. But yes, so we love it. We love the debate. Part of the reason for I end the article as I end every article with "Let the debating begin." It's actually "Let the debate begin." It's grammatically correct. But yeah, this is gonna be our measure. You don't like it? Create your own. Would love to see it.
As I
Uh,
was saying, Viola is actually fifth in the the world champs, and she only lost to Vivian by 3 seconds. So I don't know why Viola's not getting enough love. Well, I guess she's seventh, and she kind of could be swapped in with that fourth or fifth place.
yeah, and yeah, she's suffering from some non-American, some American bias. By the way, I want to mention our exclusive sponsor for the hybrid rankings this month is Resolute Coffee. Resolute is born from a love of coffee and belief in the human spirit. Go to Resolute Coffee, order some stuff. He also sells hot sauce. I can't wait to get some of that. Anybody else on the women's side before we move over to the men?
On the women's side, I'm gonna be Homer and shout out to Rebecca Mason, who is doing what I love about your standings is you say the number of ballots people have been in as well. So Rebecca featured in 6 ballots. I presume that's all of them. So that's great for Rebecca. She recently, I want to say, did a sub 13 DEKA strong. So, can't wait to see her, maybe go head to head with some of these strong DEKA women in the future. You never know how that's going to go down. But should we ever look at the also received votes? Because these are always fascinating to me because you've done this in a different way this time.
Well, so typically Jack gives me the list. This time he gave us screenshots. Jack Bauer, one of the voters, and of course the master of the stats. So he decided to create it this way, and I thought, well, yeah, let's just share it this way. So it gives us how many points they got, how many ballots they were on, best and worst vote, and that kind of makes sense, right? This person, gets they're kind of right where they should be. I mean, this person got a lot of 19s and 20s, except for Petra, who got as high as 14th, which I'm guessing is from you.
That would probably be a good guess because Petra is a European athlete. She's a Spartan athlete as well, and she had quite a good DEKA Spain recently, and she did okay at HYROX World Champs as well. She's definitely one to look out for. You know what? I'm actually surprised because I can admit it's me. There's only one ballot listed, so I'm I'm surprised she doesn't appear on Jack's ballot because fast Europeans. I thought that was his bag.
It is. The only thing is Petra is age group. She doesn't race in pro. And so she that puts her to me in that under 20 rankings. Like she's really great, but if she's not racing with the big gals, you lose a few points.
She was at DEKA Spain. She was doing elite,
Okay.
and in the team race, she came second overall to Viola and Jay.
Are you sure she raced elite DEKA Spain? Because she races age group HYROX.
I'm fairly sure she's right. Have to check, but she was definitely in. She was in the DEKA Cup, so that's elite.
She was in, yes, she was part of the cup, right?
She was part of the Cup, and are we sure that she races age open in HYROX? Let me check. How do you spell her? I suppose Petra would be.
Yeah, look her
Would you
up.
believe Petra is a common name? How do you spell her surname?
Arvela, Arvela.
No results. That's always great. HYROX have made a change to this results thing. It's so hard to work nowadays.
Now, won the Ultra in Spartan Morzine. So showing her range, showing her hybrid range, which we appreciate.
And I bet you she can shot put as well. She at the World Champs, yeah, she got third at DEKA FIT Malaga. MV World Champs, I think she was 6th overall in the pro category. So she wasn't elite 15, but she did well in the,
yeah, so this is age
she
group.
did David Megida. What's
So
the
this
age
is
group?
this is HYROX Hanover.
Yeah.
And you can tell because it's got the little numbers there on the bottom. So she was first in her age group in Malaga. Sorry, in this is HYROX Germany. Sorry, Germany. Yeah, Hanover. This is HYROX Hanover. And again, go ahead.
HYROX World Champ, she was 6th overall in the pro division, which was a minute and a half after Camilla Massa.
At the World Champs?
World Champs, yeah. She wasn't elite 15, but she was 6th overall in the pro category.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Not elite 15. That's why she's below the top 20. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just shocked that but then again, looking at it, a lot of our again, we can't talk about others, but a lot of everyone else's polls have similar people on them. As you can see, listener, if you look at the the number of polls. So it's only when you get, I want to say, the top 10 all appear in everyone's poll.
Right.
So it's only when you get to 10, you've got a couple of people, 10 and 11 don't appear in everyone's poll. But yeah, it's only when you get to the 17th point, isn't it, that you start seeing a drop off in polls. So that's the way we do it.
All right, let's go on to the dudes.
Okay, well, again, Hunter's at the top, and it's the case until he gets beat. He's not going anywhere. Although, and we can't talk about who did this, he was ranked 2nd on someone's poll. I don't even know who ranked him second. I know I ranked him first. So
right. Well, I forgot who I spoke about this with, but the argument could be made, right, for Kent, because Hunter basically only shows up to the World Champs. So should you lose points for competing less? The one race he showed up to prior to World Champs, he stopped because he wanted to break the world record, and that was it. So should you lose points for a guy like Kent, who's showing up to DEKA, who's showing up to HYROX? Kent's showing up to to miles and fits and all the rest of it. So it could be made. I wouldn't say it's impossible to rank Kent first, but I too ranked Hunter first.
Again, it's a difficult one because it's almost like do you get points for style in a way? Do you get points for turning up? Ryan Kent is a great athlete, and yeah, I can't wait to them go head to head again because it's always a good race. But until Hunter gets beat, it's hard. And then we have Alex in 3rd place, and you could potentially argue if Alex had an American passport, would he be 2nd?
Exactly. Back to the same thing. Somebody rated him 7th. It says best 2nd, worst 7th. We will not out that person, but somebody rated him 7th. I don't think it was me.
Yeah. And then in 4th place, we got Tobias,
Tobias Laudvin.
Tobias. Tim is holding on in 5th, and can't wait. I think I saw that he was training or competing. So well done to Tim for getting healthy again. Can't wait to see you there. Dylan's a hard one to rank because the hybrid raccoon, he's one of them that I think you could rank him anywhere from, I don't know, 3 to 17, depending on the time of the month.
Yeah, well, listen, he picked a good time to do really well at a competitive race, because that launched him from 11th to 6th for beating a good field and having a great day. So, we talk about recency bias, but that is what this poll is. It's a monthly ranking. And so you get rewarded for recent events, you get punished for further events. And so good for Dylan. Yeah. And then Rich lost 3 points for obvious reasons. Rich thought he would go further down. Rich said anybody that beat him should have moved up. And I said, well, not necessarily.
Yeah, there's a potential that I'll out myself. I was rushing my rankings a little bit, so I don't think I move Rich at all. So, Rich, if that helps, you're welcome. I don't know, but yeah, I had to, because I was, when you wanted these in, I was away in London, so I did my best with them, but I think I just looked at people wanting to add in and maybe shuffle around a bit, because once you've got the rankings as a whole, like you say a few times, you look to recency bias, you look at people doing a good job, and you go from there. You're not
You
going
don't
to
start
tear it all up.
you don't start from scratch.
No, you don't tear it up. So, but speaking of having and showing out, Nick Riker, fantastic. Our boy Nick at 17th. I was really happy to see him. I think I want to say he's been in at least 2 out of my 3 polls. He might have been in all 3, and because he's really good at DEKA.
Yeah, congratulations, Nick. First time in the poll, buddy. You made it. 17th.
Yeah, and we are seeing that. We are seeing some athletes who are really good at DEKA and some who are really good at HYROX, and yeah, long may it continue. And who else would you like to talk about?
Well, real
James
quickly.
Kelly.
Real
I was
quickly.
surprised James didn't move.
What has James? Did James go to? Oh, from Australia?
Yeah, I was surprised again. That might have been geographic bias, but he puts down a sub 60 in Sydney. He beats a CrossFit Games athlete by like 3 minutes. I know we can have that argument all you want, but he had a great time in Sydney, and I was surprised he didn't move up.
Yeah, again, I think too many Americans. Too many Americans voting.
Yeah, absolutely. And big shout out to Tom Hogan as well in 14th there. And I'll shout out the home crowd on Graham Halliday in 8th and Michael Sandbach in 10th. Michael dropped, and I think that's probably because he's not done anything, and Dylan had a storming weekend. Well,
I mean,
storming month.
even Ryland gets to be as high as 11th, and Ryland's only done grit games, I think, this year, and he came in. I think he's injured, which is fine. Like, I'm not blaming him, but I think he was he second or third at grit games, and other than that, he hasn't done a DEKA in a long time. He hasn't done a HYROX ever. So I think Ryland is lucky to be hanging on that high.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Actually, he might not even appear on my poll. He's only on 5, so he may or may not be in my poll. I don't know it off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But that would make sense. And then you've got the also received votes, which is probably a lot of my guys.
Jarrett Newby, my guy, Anas, Grayson Kilgore, Chris Woolley, Tiago, Austin, James Muscart, Joe Roberto, also my guy, and Marc Antoine Tremblay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Mark might have been my pick. No, I think Chris Woolley was in from me. He had a great time in both Sydney and Melbourne. It's a bit shame he didn't actually get on the rankings, but I guess it is what it is. And Nas, it's a shame because he appeared in 5 ballots and just didn't get enough points.
Well, he's gonna have to. So he did he win HYROX New York? Was that him? Who won HYROX New York?
He won,
Which was a couple months ago.
Yeah. Let's find out. Oh, why is it doing this stupid thing?
You sound like me.
Yeah, so sometimes it just pulls up random. It's saying, oh no, it's Jarrett Newby was third. Nick Riker was fourth at HYROX New York. I don't think Anas ran, did he?
All right, we'll pull up HYROX New York.
I'm looking at it. It says Peleo Menendez was first. Then you had Eric Williams, Jarrett Newby, Nick Riker.
Oh, that's right.
Mark Farrell.
Paleo came in first. That's right. Anas did. I forget what Anas did recently. But yeah. But it's going to really get exciting here in the fall. Lots of HYROX events. DEKA World Championships coming. It's going to get very exciting.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see you guys. You're getting like a full season this year, aren't you? You've not really had a full season. I think you're getting quite a few more events this year.
For HYROX?
For HYROX?
Well, if you want to be, a couple events happened, right? That they're counting. And then if you have to go to another event if you haven't qualified for our first major, which is Chicago.
Chicago, your next event, yeah.
Right. So you cannot, if you're not already in the top 15, right? You've got to go to one of these other events.
What date is Chicago?
November?
November?
Let's look it up. Chicago HYROX.
Just trying to think which would be the best event for people to go to between
November. It's November 11th. And it's the US major, quote unquote, or it's the HYROX major. The US major will be DC in March. This is the quote unquote HYROX major, which will move around. And it's Chicago because they love the Navy Pier.
What other events are on between now and then? Which
well, let's
find my race.
Let's find out. Find my race. Warsaw next week. Did you know that there's a race in Poland?
There is indeed. Looking forward to that. The first Eastern Europe event. Again, quite a big UK contingent heading over to that, I believe. Madrid would be a good one if
I think that's where Rich is going. I think Rich and some others are going to Madrid, then Malmo, and a week later, and then back in Asia in October. Yeah, there's a bunch of events, dude. Fall is going to be very busy.
Singapore, I don't know what flights are, but if you're on the West Coast and you can go over to Singapore, the stadium event, it's going to be really, really good. And in theory, at least, there shouldn't be a lot of people on the track, so you'll be able to get a quick time, I'd hope.
Well, all right then. I think we're good. Anything else in the rankings before we close up shop for today?
No, I think we've covered everything we could in the world of hybrid racing that isn't decathlon or CrossFit.